You see the final score, we track the revenue stream. Welcome to the show that treats the sports world like the multi-billion-dollar business it is. We dissect the ownership deals, the television right battles, the NIL impact, and the media figures driving the entire narrative. From Wall Street to the locker room, we follow the money and the people who control the message. Welcome to Press Row, the business of sports, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Now, here's your hosts, Callan McClurg and Nick Morgasen.
Hello, everybody. Oh, wait, it's not Wednesday. What is this? Wait, and Callan's muted. Okay,
it's Sunday. What are we doing here?
Wait a minute. Is this a bonus edition of Press Row? It is.
It is.
Usually it's not good news when we're doing a bonus edition of Press Row.
No.
Usually it's not.
Well, see, this is what happens, though, too, when you get brand new technology and a new toy before your birthday on Tuesday, as Nick Morgasen did do, as his USB mic has chosen to flame out as we get the show underway this afternoon. We're going to do it live, folks. But yes, this is a special edition of Press Row. And as Nick was alluding to, it is never good, though, when Nick Morgasen in Plainview, New York, and Callan McClurg, where it's 75 and sunny in the middle of February in Southern California, come at you not on our regular Wednesday show due to the fact there has been massive news involving the recent release of the Jeffrey Epstein Files, as now the sports world has been rocked by what has gone on, while Nick is trying to get his technology to actually work. Let's remind you, folks, that you can follow the show on social media. We are at Press Row ETB. On Twitter, Instagram, and eventually on TikTok. And you can, of course, you can follow ETB on social media, Twitter, IG, and TikTok at ETB Network. And make sure you subscribe to us as well over at youtube.com/ETB Network. No luck there yet, sir? Oh, great. So as Nick works through those tech problems, again, as Nick, though, was alluding to, folks, it is never good whenever you see me and Nick come on, not on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern, because obviously that means that there has been some massive news that has broken. And I know a lot of people have been probably wondering, is this finally the WNBA lockout show? Because I know we've been, in a way talking about that over the last several weeks, months, or whatever. But of course, the major news, today, has been the massive story, involving not just NFL owners, but sports figures who have now been named within the Jeffrey Epstein Files. Margaret Fleming, who broke the news for Front Office Sports on Saturday night, has now compiled an entire list of not just NFL owners, but also other sports figures involving the Olympic game chairman, Casey Wasserman, and other people as well who have been named in it. So to get to Margaret's writing here while Nick tries to get that new mic to work, But late on Friday, the U.S. DOJ released more than 3 million more records on Friday related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and many mention major sports figures or show them corresponding or working in some capacity with Epstein and or associates. The first opening shot of documentation contained correspondence where Epstein appeared to connect with New York Giants co-owner and chairman Steve Tisch with women. Steve Tisch admitted his relationship with Epstein, but denied any sort of wrongdoing. Casey Wasserman, the agency executive who chairs the organizing committee for the upcoming Summer Olympic Games in Los Angeles, is also featured in the documents, communicating directly with Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. LA28 did not respond for commentary or respond to a request for comment. But Wasserman expressed his regret late Saturday, but said he had no relationship with Mr. Epstein whatsoever. Miss Maxwell is now serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role in Epstein's trafficking and sexual abuse of girls and women, with Front Office Sports now compiling a full list of major sports figures, many of whom are still being named. Not all of these names corresponded with Epstein directly, and many are now mentioned by him or others in his orbit. Nick, are we back yet, sir, or still no luck? Okay. So while Nick is still working with that, so here is where things stand. No. So here is where things stand right now, folks, at this rate. With other names that have been mentioned, we already mentioned Steve Tisch, the co-owner and chairman of the Giants. Messages with Epstein show the financier appeared to connect the producer with women. His messages to Epstein include lines like, "Is she fun?" and "Is my present in NYC?" Mr. Tisch admitted on Friday night that he and Epstein had a brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women. One of the emails sent by Tisch said he was in a quote-unquote NFL meeting. We go back now to Casey Wasserman, the chairman of the LA 28 Olympic Game Committee. The agency execs sent messages at times seemingly to be flirting with Maxwell in 2003 about both real estate and even massages. While discussing the massage, Maxwell says that there are a few spots that apparently drive a man wild and offers to practice them on Wasserman. He later says his desires include you, me, and not much else. And he further says, "I deeply regret my correspondence with Miss Maxwell. That happened long before her horrific crimes came up to light." Wasserman wrote via a statement on Saturday. He further says that "I never had a personal or business relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. As is well documented, I went on a humanitarian trip as part of a delegation with the Clinton Foundation in 2002 on a Epstein plane. I am terribly sorry for having any association with either of them," open and close quote. Also, partially, Todd Bowley, the co-owner of both the Dodgers, Lakers, and Chelsea FC. In part, the emails appear to show Epstein had 2 meetings with Mr. Bowley in 2011 before his group helped buy the Dodgers. Mentions of former Seahawks and Blazers and Sounders owner Paul Allen. Epstein and others make several mentions of the financier waiting to see or speak with the Microsoft co-founders in emails. "If Paul Allen is coming, I would appreciate it if I can sit with him," Mr. Epstein wrote about a dinner party back in 2012 with Jeffrey ran into Paul Allen the other day, and Paul had mentioned to Jeffrey he must go by to see his mouse/brain project, reads an email with contact information in 2014. Furthermore, Josh Harris, who of course has had his name in the ring with the building of a brand new stadium for the Washington Commanders, and also owns the Commandos, the Sixers, Devils, Crystal Palace, and a new franchise for the WNBA in Philadelphia. Per Morgan Fleming's writing, emails between Harris and Epstein's assistants, and occasionally the two men directly, show Mr. Epstein repeatedly making attempts to schedule or invite Harris to scheduled meetings during the course of the last couple of years. There's also been mentions of both David Tepper, owner of the Carolina Panthers, and Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, and also mentions of Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots and the MLS's New England Revolution, and Dan Snyder, the former embattled owner of the Washington Redskins/Commanders, and also mentions of Ron Berkeley, the part owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins, former majority owner and former founding owner of the NWSL's San Diego Wave, Ziggy Wilf, owner of the Minnesota Vikings, Sammy Sosa, Kristaps Porzingis, Peyton Manning, Geno Smith, Arthur Blank, and even tennis legend Arthur Ashe. Some owners and players are mentioned in articles and reports rather than directly by Epstein or his aides. One small correction as well, that the story previously included incorrectly described an email from an unknown senator to Jeffrey Epstein about meeting David Tepper as being from Mr. Epstein.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Stupid touch sensor on my mic. I didn't know I had a touch sensor on this new mic. I'm here.
But yes, Nick, there is the full lead, though, about where this list has gone. We obviously even talked last night at length about how the list had exploded over the past, I'd say, 48 hours since Friday. But I guess, Nick, your reaction to what we have now seen from the DOJ and these new waves of files from the Epstein case.
Yeah, so this situation with the Epstein files is a lot of NFL owners involved. There's a big situation going on from Steve Tisch to Woody Johnson, to Stephen Ross, Paul Allen, Ziggy Wolf. It's like a quarter of the league is involved in this situation. And we've gotten to a point where we need to question the NFL's practices and say, how do we handle this situation? And this goes all the way back, and reading some of the stories to like 2011, 2012 when it comes to this situation currently. So, okay, there we go. Sorry, everybody. That's the technicality of live radio and video right there. But yeah, these are massive stories going on, and the quotes are insane as you and I were going through it.
Man, they are bouncing like it's Pong. They're bouncing from both sides of the playing field. And I agree with Christy Wilson, who writes in part on YouTube, that I find it really disturbing when I first heard of the video being shared by our good man Tom Albano, who has been really, I think, on top of this, along with Nick and myself in a way. Again, Tom had the initial 10-minute reaction, I think, on Friday night when when the first wave of names got released. But I guess, though, Nick, to kind of, I think, tie this in real quick, the profile real quick. Let's go back in a way, though, Nick, about was that Steve Tisch?
Steve Tisch, the co-owner of the Giants.
Yeah. Nick, with the shorthand in these emails appearing so transactional, can Steve Tisch realistically remain the face of a family-owned franchise like the New York Giants without a full independent league investigation being conducted, in your opinion, about this?
No, he can't remain the co-owner. And by the way, I love when these people come out, including Steve Tisch, and I'm trying to find the...
While you do, Nick, I think the only person who really apologized for being linked in any way was Casey Wasserman of LA 28.
Which is a little scary, considering that you have one of the head Olympic organizers being involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, here's another problem that we need to discuss through this whole thing.
They're not directly tied to Epstein. They have been named in some capacity.
So that's the problem here, that names are getting mentioned, but the media, and this is a conversation you and I have constantly on this show.
Almost every damn week.
Just because a name is mentioned in a story, it doesn't mean that they are involved or are guilty of a crime. And that's the problem that we're not discussing enough. Well, you and I are, but the media, the big bad media. And when I say the big bad media, I mean the core 3 or 4: ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox News. Again, not a political show, just proving a point here that these networks are so quick to be first and not be accurate that they don't realize what they're actually doing when they're reporting these. It's a little dangerous in this scenario when they report some of these stories because they don't have the full facts that are involved. And that is the big problem here with this story currently. So, and like I'm reading, like you and I were combing through. So Steve Tisch, messages with Epstein show the financier appearing to connect the producer with women. His messages to Epstein include lines like, quote, "Is she fun?" and quote, "Is my present in New York City?"
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it gets any creepier than that, right? I mean, right. Tisch admitted Friday night that he and Epstein, quote, "had a brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women." You just incriminated yourself.
Way to go, man.
One of the emails sent by Tisch says he was still in a NFL meeting. I'm sorry, what?
I beg to differ.
Or if I could get to my soundboard, I'm sorry. What? Like, Tisch has got to go. Tisch has got to go. He's 76 years old. He was involved in the Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly. I forgot to say that up front because of my technical issues and what was going on. Everything right now is allegedly. Because, again, correct, we don't know. Even though the DOJ has released all the files and given us information, this is all hearsay until it's proven in a court of law. and we know, and it's done in front of a jury of peers and all that nonsense and stuff. But if this is true, the Giants need to cut their losses with him. Well, okay. So here's the problem with that statement, Christy. You can't cut losses with an owner.
I was just gonna go though to Christy's question. Let's say, Nick, though, hypothetically, something does come out and Steve Tisch was involved with Epstein or Miss Maxwell in some capacity. Would that be enough, in your opinion, for the NFL to drop a Donald P. Sterling ruling on him?
They can't, because the NFL ownership circle is crazier than the NBA ownership circle, so to speak. And how do you being in ownership of any sport is like being in a club, a very exclusively private club. So they would need the votes to get out from under him at this point, which I don't know how they're going to do that or what they're going to do that. But they got to figure out if he did this stuff. Then, because you have the Tisch family, and I forgot the name of the other family at the moment. It's slipping me. The
Mara family, who also owns the Giants.
Correct. If I'm the Mara family, because I think Mara, or is it Tisch, that is technically the...
I think it's Mara first, then Tisch. I think it said that he's even the co-owner. So I think it's the Mara family who's got the franchise.
I'm just looking this up for accuracy. John Mara holds more direct day-to-day operational power for the Giants compared to Tisch, while the Mara and Tisch families have historically shared a 50-50 ownership split. So Mara has technically the operative standard when it comes to this scenario. So what do we do at this point? Because if Tisch is involved and these quotes are real, then is the NFL going to come down and say, no, you can't do this? Or is the NFL just going to go sweep this under the rug like Tom and I used to say?
Yeah, are they going to sweep it? Are they going to sweep it under the rug like they did when it came to players committing suicide because of CTE, and they said there was no link to the disease?
Now, I think that's slightly different because CTE is a health crisis. These are crimes, alleged crimes going on in this scenario. So how do we fix that? Because until we get an answer to if these crimes are real, and we're still going through the Jeffrey Epstein situation to this day. He died in 2019. That's 7 years ago almost.
Now, Nick, more importantly, we skipped over one thing. Now, real quick, our good man, Tom Albano, who's been on top of this, and thanks, Tom, for joining us. He said, sadly, guys, the problem also is that the Mara and Tisch families own the team. They could theoretically just boot Steve and not have to give the team up for sale or whatever.
I guess from a power standpoint.
Power struggle, I think so.
Because they would have to pay him off or buy the ownership away if they don't want him to have any power anymore. Or, and Tom would know this well because we talked about this years ago, the Vince McMahon situation where
Correct.
You make him a figurehead, not a guy of power. And that's when Roman Reigns came in and took over the creative direction of everything.
Triple H.
Sorry. Triple H. See, it shows you I'm not as... I know the names, I just don't know the order of power. But when Triple H
All
came in... Yes, but when Triple H came in and took over, because Vince was a complete asshole, holding way too much power, but they didn't take away the shares because they couldn't, because it's his money that's involved in running the WWE. Same thing here.
Absolutely.
Tisch has 50% of the money, or the family, I should say, had the money. And then it's like the Steinbrenner family with the Yankees. It just continues to get passed until eventually, I don't know. First of all, that the Yankees, Steinbrenner will own the Steinbrenner family will own the Yankees forever. I'm just going to say that now. But Oh.
I kind of thought the Lakers would have been that way too until the Baxter Holmes bombshell dropped like a week or so ago. Now, Nick, we did leave out one other owner who happens to be inside of MetLife Stadium, but the New York AFC franchise's owner, Woody Johnson, was also reportedly shown, where per reports that the reports show that Mr. Johnson was on Mr. Epstein's radar. The guys will debate how his tenure as the UK ambassador complicates the international optics of these files. So, Nick, in that question, your thoughts on this side of the story? Obviously, both New York franchises were named. We know, of course, that Woody Johnson, I believe, served a term in the first Trump admin, I think, in 16 till 20.
He was the UK ambassador.
So, what do you think about this one?
Okay, so here's the difference between, and let me be very clear. This has nothing, unlike a certain somebody who's a Bears fan and can't put their bias aside. I can put my bias aside as a Jet fan, okay? Woody Johnson is not a good owner. I'm just going to say that right up front. But this has nothing to do with being an owner right now, currently. This has to do with whether he was legally involved with meetings or scenarios, or was he involved? Now, from what it looks like his name was just brought up. And that's what I said before. Some names were just brought up. So people are speculating because when names come up, it leads to them being involved. Uh-oh. What?
I mean, is he right or is he right?
I don't know if any Jets fan. Well, yeah, me included. I don't like him either. And I'm me and DiMartino are the two sour Jets fans on this network. But I have to hold judgment because he was not involved. There's nothing in there that says that he was taking women from Epstein or underage women or doing anything or trafficking or any of that nonsense that's illegal. So I have to cut him a break because his name is not mentioned in any of the illegal activity. Supposed, I got to be careful. Supposed illegal activity. And Tom, who's watching me, will be proud of me because I'm trying to pull out the J journalism here, trying to keep it legal.
Nick, yeah. And then, Nick, there's Josh Harris again, owner of the Sixers, the New Jersey Devils, owner of the Commanders. Emails show that Epstein's assistants repeatedly tried to schedule meetings with Mr. Harris during his time at the Apollo Global Management Group, or AGM. Harris's camp maintains these were purely business-related overtures that never engaged with that he never engaged with personally. Your thoughts on this one?
This sounds like this was Epstein just trying to get in front of Josh Harris. That's what it sounds like here. Because Epstein was trying to do anything. Remember, Epstein was what, a Hollywood director, from what I understand?
I think so, yeah.
And so he was a big name in Hollywood, trying to make a name for himself. By the way, just to understand the connection, I forgot to mention this before on Tisch. Tisch directed a bunch of movies also, on top of being an investor. Like, I think he did Forrest Gump, was one of Tisch's movies, actually. But I don't know. But apparently Harris was trying to get involved in Apollo Global Management, which is the big holding company of all the sports teams that Josh Harris owns right now. So that's the Commanders, the Sixers, the Devils.
I think a soccer team. And eventually the new WNBA team in Philadelphia, too.
That's right. Oh, and Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is more, I think, namesake. Again, I don't know if he's like actually involved or Josh Harris did anything allegedly illegal. But according to his reps, he's saying Josh Harris never had an independent relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But there is one weird part of this scenario that involves Harris, which it says here Epstein had close ties to Harris's company, Apollo Global Management. The co-founder of Apollo, Leon Black, resigned in 2021, a few months after it was discovered he paid Epstein $158 million and lent him more than $30 million. Dude, what the hell are you doing?
By the way, just to clarify, Epstein was was only known for being a financier or investor, broker, and a part-time educator when he first broke into his career.
Educator.
He was a private school teacher from 74 to 76 in Manhattan.
What?
Private school teacher for 2 years.
Yeah, I'm going to say Josh Harris was probably not involved. I think this was just Epstein trying to mooch off of Harris, trying to get in the door of different investments. But for Harris's second guy, Leon Black, giving him $158 million plus a $30 million loan. Dude, what are you doing?
The other two owners, Nick, on the rap sheet are David Tepper and even Arthur Blank. Both owners appear in the files as Tepper in descriptions by redacted senders as very smart, with Mr. Blank in connection to New York benefit galas, where Epstein was also a guest. Nick, the bigger question for the segment here, is the business meeting defense a legitimate PR shield for owners like Harris, or does the sheer volume of owners in Epstein's orbit suggest that the NFL's vetting process for billionaires is now fundamentally broken? What do you think?
That's interesting you brought that, because Tom said too, I think the bigger problem is you've got one NFL owner who has email correspondence, one named the Harris connection, the Oilers, and now all of sports. Yeah, that's accurate. Like
1,000%.
That a ton of different leagues, a ton of different teams, current owners, former owners, because Ziggy Wolf's not the owner of the Vikings anymore, right?
I think he is. I don't know if he's. I don't think he's majority owner. Let me go check. Go on.
I think he's still involved in ownership, but you're right that we need to look at all sports with a microscope, because his name is associated with illegal activity. So what do you got?
Ziggy Wolf, owner, chairman, alongside Leonard and Mark Wolf.
Okay, so he's still there. Okay.
Yeah. He is still owner and chairman. Mark is the president of the franchise.
But is the business meeting defense a legitimate PR shield for owners? No, it's not a PR defense. It's an excuse, really, to be honest. But it depends which conversational starter you're discussing here, because Josh Harris is a busy man. Okay, he owns 4 to 5 teams. He runs, I think he has a mall somewhere in the country that he runs also. He's very busy, busy businessman. He doesn't have time to take stupid meetings with Jeffrey Epstein out of the blue. Okay? And reading these quotes from Epstein and what they got out of the DOJ statements, it sounds like he was just trying to mooch off of Josh Harris.
By the way, so Josh Harris, managing partner, Sixers, Devils, Commanders, unnamed WNBA team in Philadelphia, general partner, Crystal Palace EPL, minority partner of Joe Gibbs Racing.
Okay, so he doesn't have time to sit with an asshole like Jeffrey Epstein and take this bullshit further, okay? Like, I think he just happened to get mentioned because that's just what happened. That's it. That's all this is. Josh Harris just got mentioned because he's a big name. He's a billionaire. He's got a lot of money. Now, you mentioned Tepper. Tepper's had a bad reputation, which we already knew. That didn't he dump a beer or a drink on somebody?
He threw water at fans of the opposing team from the owner's box.
So he's a bad guy, no doubt. We all know he's a bad guy. Now he took over for Richardson, who was the racist owner, right?
With the Panthers, yes.
So ownership, the Panthers don't have a good history of ownership. I'm just going to say that. Everyone knows that. But if you read the statements from the FOS document, front office sports document, Tepper crops up twice in Epstein's inbox with a redacted sender calling the Panthers owner, quote, very smart and very funny, in an email to Epstein, and another man asking Epstein if he knew Tepper. See, this is all about Epstein using his relationships to get to more powerful people.
By the way, David Tepper is owner of the Panthers and Charlotte FC of Major League Soccer, and is also the president of Appaloosa Management LP hedge fund.
Gee, am I surprised that he's a hedge fund owner? No. Also, they mentioned Stephen Ross, which
Owner of the Dolphins.
Stephen Ross has been under a lot of fire, not just for this, but the way he's been doing things with the casino property that he's trying to build down there, and how the Dolphins are just had a terrible season. Obviously, they fired their head coach, obviously, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. But it says here the NFL owner and real estate mogul is mentioned several times as a friend of Andrew Farkas, the billionaire real estate developer with whom Epstein co-owned a marina in the U.S. Virgin Islands. In 2009, Epstein asked Farkas where he was, to which Farkas responded, "I'm at the Dolphins-Jets game with Steve Ross." Epstein exchanged several emails about Ross and related companies. See, again, it's a power move. He wants to get involved with all these owners.
Stephen Ross is non-executive chairman of related companies, 95% owner of the Miami Dolphins, best known for developing the Deutsche Bank Center and the Hudson Yards as well, which is in Manhattan, between Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, that's a big... I think Facebook is down there, I think a bunch of tech companies are down in that area.
And he also donated $100 million to his alma mater, the University of Michigan, 6 years ago.
I'm going to assume that's probably now going towards all the sports and NIL stuff of today.
$200 million in total, $100 million for the business school he attended, and $100 million to Michigan athletics.
See, that's what I thought. What? A few days later, Farkas told Epstein about a property, and Epstein pressed about whether Ross was involved. Farkas said he's been consumed with some NFL secret emergency meetings the last 24 hours. See, there's that term again. NFL secret meeting. So, what is that, like the third or fourth time we've seen that phrasing already?
The whole thing sounds just so damn redundant, doesn't it?
Yeah. After a disappointing mansion tour in 2014, Epstein received an apology email saying, quote, "I and Steve am deeply grateful for your participation." In 2015, Farkas said Ross would give $100 million to a project for which Epstein appeared to help connect other investors. An event reminder for Ross's New Year's Eve party from late 2016 appears in the files, though the recipient's name is redacted. In 2017, Epstein's pilot Larry Vizosky said Ross and Epstein were both interested in the same place, and in 2018, Epstein called a related company's project fun but quite a mess. Open and close quote.
Nick, some other owners that were named in the FOS story, obviously Todd Bowley comes to mind, owner of Chelsea FC and the EPL, and of course part owner of the back-to-back world champion Dodgers, and now part of the Lakers ownership group, obviously with the Guggenheim baseball partners, essentially, Mark Walter and them buying the Lakers from the Buss family. The emails appear to show Epstein had 2 meetings with Todd back in 2011. That's about a year before that group bought the Dodgers from the embattled McCourt family in 2012.
Again, like, it's not just football. Originally, I thought it was just going to be the NFL owners. Now we're seeing hockey, we're seeing baseball, we're seeing athletes being named. The DOJ and the government really messed this one up really bad and didn't like jump on top of this to stop it sooner. Now, again, I want to keep politics out of it because this is not a political show. I could give two shits about the politics of this. But there's so many owners involved in this that, like, I was talking to some people and they're like, "Nick, you can't discuss this topic. It has nothing to do with sports." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I'm going to count this based on the front office sports story. So,
at least a dozen.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 NFL owners are mentioned in this. You're going to tell me this has nothing to do with sports?
I think it goes to Christy Wilson's most recent comment, though, Nick. Epstein really wanted to get his hands on everything.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, he wanted to get in. The power struggle is real. He wanted to be involved because the more powerful names he knows, the more shit he gets away with, and then people can't question him because he's got too much power. Think about this. When billionaires have power, what are they more apt to do because they can get away with stuff?
Stuff like this.
Illegal activity. Because they know that they have such powerful connections, whether it's in the government or FBI or power, they could just make it go away. Like, let's just sweep it over here and say it didn't happen. But another big name that was mentioned too, Robert Kraft, the Patriots owner. Now, if you remember, and I started to bring this up the other day when I was talking to you, Robert Kraft was involved in the spa prostitution scandal.
Yes.
Steve Bannon, again, was part of Trump's
first admin
cabinet, sent Epstein an email about Kraft's day spa charges, which were later dropped, to which Epstein responded, quote, 90% inaccurate. Wow, he's okay. Epstein also said in a text, quote, you need to know about a past issue with Kraft that may come to light. This was the quote that was circulating all over social media.
Whoa.
So did Epstein know something that...
Did he know something that we didn't know?
That was a big case way back when, where, because Kraft allegedly was going to spas and getting little help. I'll leave it at that.
They also mentioned, now this one was just mentions of former Seahawks and Blazers owner and part owner of the Sounders, Paul Allen.
Yeah.
Epstein and others made several mentions of the financier wanting to see or speak with Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen in emails. In part, Epstein wrote about a dinner party in 2012 that if Paul Allen is coming, I would appreciate it if I can sit with him. Jeffrey ran into Paul Allen the other day, and Paul had mentioned to Jeffrey he must go by to see his mouse/brain project. That email in part read, with contact information redacted from 2014, so just over 12 years ago.
This is ugly now. Like, and now, and the NFL, the Shield, which right now the Shield is being penetrated completely because the owners are now have their dirty hands all over this allegedly.
Oh, hold that thought, Nick, for like 30 seconds.
What?
Tom has a hell of a comment here.
And the NFL has been silent about all this. With Kraft's team in the Super Bowl and a big name in the Super Bowl and the politics around this year's game, can they really stay silent? You mean from an NFL standpoint? No. I mean, they're going to stay silent. Now, I think what Tom is partially referring to is we're heading into Super Bowl media week,
yes,
the week before the game. It starts officially, I think, today. And you're telling me the media is not going to go approach Robert Kraft, who is going to be at media day? If you bet your sweet ass he's going to be there at Super Bowl media week. Do you think the PR is going to earn its money this week for all the interviews he goes and does? You don't. If I was down there at Super Bowl media row, you don't think I'd ask that question?
Yeah, we would be if we were there.
How do you not ask that question? Sir, were you involved with Jeffrey Epstein? And can you just confirm for the record you didn't do anything? And
sorry, sir, your credentials have been stripped. You can't cover the game now.
Yeah, and that's called journalistic restriction or censorship.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Kraft already has a bad track record because he got arrested. Now, according to the reports, it was dropped, and Tom and I did talk about this, that the charges were eventually dropped. But it was still suspicious that he was involved in a prostitution allegedly scandal, and now he could be involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Gee, doesn't that sound like they connect with one another?
They do to me.
Let me continue on here, though. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Epstein also said in a text, quote, you need to know about, well, I said that. You need to know about an issue with Kraft that may come to light. That quote was everywhere. Everywhere. Every news outlet, every sports media outlet, everybody read about it. Oh, Tom just followed up, too. I have a bad feeling that might be what the NFL does. What Callan said about, no, Tom, you're 100% right. If journalism is not journalism, Tom knows. Tom's been in journalism for a long time. Masters in journalism too. It's a tough space, and we're seeing it in all spaces, not just the NFL, that you can't cover anything because you have to be so worried that the coveted credential that we all live and die for, not just the NFL, but in any sport, that we're going to lose the access because we're not allowed to cover our teams properly when an investigative story goes on. To be honest, like, what did he say here? It's a journalistic world where access is more than the story. That's true. Agree. 100%. But like if someone said to us, hey, we'll give you all the, we'll give Press Row the access to, I don't know, what would be an example of an event that would make sense as a big event for media?
Final Four.
Well, I'm talking more like sports media stories.
Probably this one.
No, but I meant like an event. So like, even though we don't like them, the Barrett Sports Media event.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you don't think I'm not going to go up to him and say, hey, why do you write stories about your friends and nobody else? I know he's going to instantly throw us out of there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask it, right?
Yeah, and we'll get like what, disorderly conduct charges put against us?
Well, as long as we don't fight or physically fight him. But like, my point is that you can't cover anything anymore unless you're going to sugarcoat information when we do stories. On this show, we don't do that. We don't do that here. We cover it the way it is.
Yeah. Some other just names, Nick, that are popping up. And obviously Ron Berkeley's name sticks out for me as the former founding owner of the San Diego Wave of the NWSL. Of course, he had the Penguins for a long time as the majority owner. FOS reports that his ties to Epstein's inner circle date back years, and he was named in an Epstein lawsuit unsealed 2 years ago. Berkeley is listed in the lawsuit as one of many people, including President Trump, who had knowledge of Epstein's sexual desire for minor girls. An FBI tip in the documentation from 6 years ago encourages investigating Mr. Berkeley. Per an interview with a victim, Berkeley said Epstein was not a good guy and wished he had never met him. Of course, a photo of Berkeley alongside Epstein and former President Bill Clinton has already been released to the public in the past couple of years.
I feel like everything we hear, it just gets worse. Everything, like all the evidence that's coming out currently. Now, I don't know enough about Berkeley. I did know that he was a part owner of the Penguins in the NHL. I did know he was part of the Wave. And they were the ones that had their own issues too, right?
The Brittany Alvarado, Jill Ellis lawsuit that happened, yes.
Are you noticing the irony of some of these people that they're involved in other incidents in other ways, shapes, or form, in other leagues or other power struggles that are going on across sports? That's a problem here. And also a certain name, which Tom will love this one because we talked about this owner many years ago when he was having an issue in Washington. Dan Snyder. In a 2008 email, a helicopter flight is approved that the sender believes is tied to the football owner. He's featured in a 2016 email as being moved from dinner and preview to preview only for an event. Snyder is also mentioned in a 2020 email about an inquiry from a TMZ reporter about a rumor for Snyder's arrest in connection with the Epstein-Maxwell investigation, to which an unknown person responds, quote, insane. These are also blank pages with letterhead from former team executive John Kowalski, who according to his LinkedIn, worked for the team between 2012 and 2015. Oh, I see it. Insert Santa Bruce Allen say the culture.
How would you describe the culture surrounding this football team?
You know, the culture is actually damn good.
That's accurate. But Tom, you know this well from when we covered the whole Dan Snyder situation, how he was a bad guy. And I think he was the one that went to the island and did the calendar with the girls. And that got him in trouble also, I think. And there was a whole investigation into that. And he tried to pass it off as a working dinner, which is so bullshit, if you ask me. But Dan Snyder's not a good guy. Robert Kraft is not a good guy. Sounds like Ron Burkle was not a good guy. Stephen Ross has been rumored to be a bad guy for a long time. David Tepper is a terrible guy, from what I understood. Josh Harris, I haven't heard anything bad about him. I think he just got mentioned like trial by fire, I think, in this case. Todd Bowley, I don't know enough. That's more your realm than mine. Casey Wasserman, I don't know, the chairman of the Olympics. And then Steve Tisch seems like a Hollywood scrub. And I don't mean as like hasn't done anything, just like a typical Hollywood billionaire who thinks they can just get away with shit and not face consequences. And by the way, with Tom watching, like Tom did a really good video on that we put out on the football forecast accounts, which I implore everybody to go watch. He did a 10-minute video kind of breaking it down. By the way, Tom, if you're still watching, it's up to 2,200 impressions now, and it's been out for 2 days. That's pretty good. So check it out. He goes kind of through the DOJ documents link side of things. What's still kind of creepy about the Tisch situation for a second also is the disturbing exchange about a crying victim. I don't know how much you read into the Tisch. Yes, right, correct. Tom reading the emails for the first time and reacting. But yeah, he did a really good job on that video. I go check it out. It's on at TFP Forecast DTB, our football forecast accounts, to check out the video. But just to finish on the Tisch thing, like the quotes of "Is she fun?" and "Is my present in New York City?" I'm lost for words on this one. Now, what is your kind of your 2 cents on those 2 quotes? Because I don't know how to feel about those 2 quotes.
Pretty damn disturbing, if you ask me.
Is she fun? You're 76 years old, dude.
Come on, man.
Now, this happened over 10 years ago, but still, that means what? You're 65, 66?
Yeah.
Aren't you married?
You would think so, right?
I mean, let's not throw stones. Let me look this up just to be sure. Oh, he's not married. He's divorced.
Oh,
gee, boy. Doesn't that sound ironic?
Clown show! Clown show! Clown show! Clown show!
Oh, wait. In 2006, Tisch married another woman in a ceremony that was officiated by her grandfather. Okay, so he is married. I take that back. He was divorced and they got married again in 2006. Yeah, this is disturbing. There's a lot of issues here.
Especially when you're being named 400 times in documentation related to Mr. Epstein.
If the Giants were smart, they would find a way to buy him out.
Somehow.
Now,
or as Tom said earlier, you find a way to just strip him of his power with the organization.
But how do you do that is the question. How do you do that? Because
they're a family-owned franchise, aren't they?
But they would have to buy out the other 50%. That's not going to be cheap.
And that leads to a good little, plug again. In about 2 weeks' time, we'll be having a ETB Small Market Edition episode about family ownership in sports and how it wrecks organizations.
So like the Yankees, the Lakers.
Well, mainly like the Broncos, Texans, Padres, Lakers are the main ones I can recall that are in the story right now.
So I just looked it up. As of late 25, early 26, the Giants organization has an estimated value approximately of $10 billion. So they would have to, think about that, 50%, $5 billion. You think they're forking over $5 billion?
No.
Tom also said, the thing is, John Mara isn't even doing much right now with his diagnosis. Oh, yeah. That's a fair point. John Mara has cancer, too.
Oh.
And he's having issue. Like, he's not around the team a lot right now currently. So Tisch is doing a lot of the day-to-day operations. That's even worse.
That is even worse.
So he's in control, and your owner, day-to-day operations is a clown show. Seriously.
Clown show, clown show, clown show, clown show.
Tisch is chairman and EVP. Mara is the president. Okay. They got to get him out. Whatever they got to do. If the NFL has to get involved now, I don't know if the NFL can get involved because it's an ownership issue, not a NFL punishment issue. Not that the NFL punishes anybody anyway. Because it's all about the Shield, and the Shield has to continue to make money, and we don't care if we have a Deshaun Watson running around going to massage parlors and going after women, or Robert Kraft going to a massage parlor with prostitution, allegedly. Like, we don't care. And Tom makes a point that we've talked about for years. And unfortunately, Goodell's bosses technically are the owners, which is true. They pay his salary, his nice salary, by the way. Like in the 50 million range, I think Goodell makes every single year. But I don't know. Like, how do we fix this situation? I don't know.
I don't know either.
And the NFL's got egg on its face now.
And sadly, what else is new for the NFL? Like every other time you turn around, they're being stuck in some kind of litigation or some kind of legal trouble like this.
Everyone sues the NFL. That's hundreds of thousands of people sue professional sports every single day because they think they're going to get one over on these teams. But
good luck with that.
But these teams are so loaded with lawyers, like it's crazy. And I don't know what to do here, but you got to get him out. How do you get him out, though? You're going to have to negotiate and or at least buy him out of controlling interest.
Yeah, something needs to be done in that capacity. And again, I don't know what that looks like. Again, I thought maybe it could have been a Sterling-style suspension if more comes out of it.
Well, they forced Sterling to sell.
The NBA forced him to sell the Clippers to Steve Ballmer, to a new ownership group, and they gave him the $2.5 million fine and the lifetime ban from the NBA or something along those lines.
I think it was $5 million because that's the largest fine of all that they allow according to the CBA agreement.
Yeah, but either way, he was forced to sell the ownership of the franchise to a new owner.
So I just looked this up. Can the NFL force an owner to sell their team?
I would think so.
So it says but it is an extreme, rarely used, and legally complex process. According to the NFL Constitution and bylaws, a vote of at least 3/4, 24 of the 32 of the league owners, is required to force an involuntary sale. And I'll tell you right now, that is never going to happen.
Nah.
It'll never happen because these owners are so like this together. Like that. You would need a mutiny against an owner for them to get forced out.
It would have to be like a mutiny of like almost. Now, again, I don't want to keep comparing it to the Sterling situation, but like.
Well, Sterling allegedly was abusing women. That's a different scenario.
Well, and he also made racist cracks too about Magic Johnson and Elgin Baylor and.
But that was officially on record. That's why
that was on record. It was on tapes when Shelley Sterling was doing it because Donald was beginning to go down the rabbit hole of whatever diagnosis he had with like Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever it may have been.
Well, he was also going after her too.
Going after her, you name it, whatever. But there would need to be some kind of a massive mutiny from like I don't even know like what you could do. I really don't. I have no idea.
But forcing him out is not going to happen. You're not going to get 24 out of 32 teams to agree to force him out because, especially in New York,
New Jersey, yeah.
New York has too much power in this league,
or
any sport. They have way too much professional power. Tom makes another good point. I question how much the political world, if you know who I mean, may also influence what happens. Yes, you're talking about Trump.
Well, I mean, come on. The president is also the same guy who forced the USFL to fold after he bought it for $1.
Well, you're also talking about, and hopefully we'll spend a few minutes on it if we have time. Trump had to approve the NFL media ESPN merger, which we'll spend like a couple minutes on because we're running out of time.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously we had talked about it becoming a thing, and now it's actually a real thing.
So I just want to pull up just for accuracy, because I don't have a story in front of me currently. Here. So Ari Mirov and Andrew Martian were all over it the other night. So Ari Mirov said government regulators have approved ESPN's billion-dollar blockbuster acquisition of NFL media assets. And when they say government, they mean Trump. Giving ESPN access to NFL Red Zone, NFL Network, more regular season games, which means no more double headers for ESPN anymore, which is great because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a 10 p.m. Eastern time game on a doubleheader. Fantasy football rights and more in exchange for a 10% equity in ESPN.
So I think the $1 million question now becomes how much will the NFL now, in a way, control the narrative of their league now on ESPN?
They're not going to control anything. They only own 10%. It's that was the price. The 10% ownership in Disney. It's really Disney, not ESPN.
Disney.
But in the ESPN point of view, it makes a lot of sense because now they own all the entities. They now get more games. Now, I don't know if it's a conflict of interest because if ESPN owns NFL media, do they control all the rights and stuff for the games too?
I would think they would if that's the case.
I don't think the NFL would give up that power, though.
No, never.
But
them giving up power would never happen as long as we're alive.
But this is fascinating. Now, we knew about this months ago when we discussed it. I'm having fun watching dog next to you.
It's that time of the day, but go on.
But there's a lot of significance in this story because now ESPN wanted more games. What are they doing? They're getting more games. They have more fantasy assets from the NFL. They're going to get more primetime games. They have a Super Bowl coming up next year, which I'll tell you right now, ESPN, as soon as this one ends, SVP is doing the first Sports Center that night to take the handoff from NBC, and ESPN's going to spend 365 days, which it's going to piss you off because this is what you hate the most.
Yep.
But ESPN is going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're going to go freaking crazy promoting that they have the Super Bowl next year.
Home of Super Bowl 61.
It's a big deal, though, because ESPN never had the Super Bowl.
I know they've never had it, if you can believe it.
So you have to admit it's a big deal in some shape or form.
No, I will never not say it's not a big deal because it's a network first for the one who was really the first one through the wall to give you 24/7 sports content 24/7.
Now, my guess is that it's going to be on ABC. That's probably where the Super Bowl will be.
ABC, ESPN.
Do you think they'll simulcast it like they do, like the NBA on ESPN on ABC?
I think if they didn't do it, it wouldn't feel like ESPN covering the Super Bowl if they did not simulcast it.
Because you have to remember, ESPN is cable. Remember,
Yes.
ABC is the larger.
Yeah, I think it would be on ABC, and then it would also simulcast on ESPN.
Now,
Disney Plus, you name it.
They're probably going to use all the ESPN networks to do a bunch of different coverage.
Yeah, like the mega cast, for example, for the college football national title game, probably.
I could see McAfee being involved in that.
I think all the stations, I think even all the college stations would even have some kind of a feed for the game.
Now, I wonder if I'd have to look into the deal a little bit more, but like, would ESPN Radio get access to it? Or would that remain a Westwood One product? Probably would remain a Westwood One product.
I think it'd be Westwood One. I think just the TV side would be just ABC and all the ESPN family and networks.
Imagine if they were able to put it on ESPN Radio too. Like that would have.
Whoa, that'd be a game changer.
I don't think they will because I think the NFL again has control over like the media partners, so to speak. But this is wild because who would have thought ESPN would have bought out NFL media?
Certainly not me, that's for sure.
Just be aware that you're going to see more and more and more NFL programming across the ESPN airways. I'm just going to say
Maybe
that.
they'll actually put a show in the 2:00 Pacific time slot that's not called SportsCenter for a change, since Around the Horn got canceled last May.
But apparently that ESPN program is doing well.
Yeah, okay.
No, they showed the numbers. They said apparently it was doing well. I mean, now they don't have Elle Duncan and all that stuff because of the whole Netflix snafu.
Oh, can't wait for the first ever Super Bowl to be on fucking Netflix in like 2 years.
They can't do that. I understand, and you and I have had this conversation.
I wouldn't put it past them eventually.
There's a reason they can't do it. Do you know why?
I couldn't even tell you, but I'm sure they'll try to find a way to figure it out.
No. There's a logical reasoning if you think it through. They're not going to put the Super Bowl behind a paywall.
True.
It'll never happen. I could see the World Series ending up behind a paywall at some point because of their struggling ratings. So they might just take the money and run at some point.
The NBA play-in tournament is now on Prime Video.
But you'll never see the NBA Finals behind a paywall. I'll tell you that. The Stanley Cup, I could see the Stanley Cup ending up behind a paywall at some point because it's not a big enough fan base, and they might just take the money. So it's all a matter of what they consider the fan base. Because I'll tell you right now, do you realize how fast the NFL Super Bowl numbers would tank if they put it behind a paywall?
Oh, 1,000%.
Now, let me not be naive. If you're saying I wouldn't purchase it to watch the Super Bowl, that would be silly.
Right.
Everyone and their mother's going to freaking purchase the Super Bowl if it ends up behind a paywall. I'm just going to tell you that now. But it'll never happen. It just will never happen.
Everybody on this network not named me might do it, but not me.
The point is, in logical feasibility, if they wanted to put it behind a paywall, they could because people are going to buy it. There's enough equity, value proposition equity for the NFL to do it.
Yeah.
But it's a huge deal. Who would have thought ESPN would bought out a league's media?
That and just that it took so, like in a way, it took this long for ESPN to finally capture the Super Bowl and get it on their airwaves in some way, shape, form, or size.
Well, it was a laughingstock for many years, ESPN's NFL coverage.
Yeah.
Tom says the point Nick is making is the NFL has pride in itself on being network TV forever. Super Bowl. Yes. Tom actually summed that up very well. Actually. They will never go behind a paywall. Maybe one day could they put other content involving the Super Bowl behind a paywall? I could see that.
Maybe.
Now, we're going to talk. I'm going to bring this up briefly because we're going to talk about it more on Wednesday. But the ridiculous amounts of coverage that are done for the Super Bowl is insane. It's insane. And they're starting at 7 a.m. now.
And you'll hear that in a special Benchmarks episode next Sunday at about 3 o'clock Pacific time.
Yeah, that's going to be a good... You did a good job on that, actually. And ironically, I chose you because you kind of know how to talk around it, knowing how ridiculous it is that they start at 7 a.m. and the game starts at 6:30. Oh, this is a good one by Tom, actually. I could see Monday Night Football going behind a paywall if ESPN does the thing where they move off TV.
Well, yeah, don't they do like select games that are behind the pay that are on
ESPN Plus
or whatever usually?
They'll take an international game from time to time and put it behind the paywall. Didn't they do like one of the Mexico games, I think, on ESPN Plus exclusively? I think they did that one year.
Then I feel like they do like one other Monday night game like very late in the year usually too on ESPN Plus.
Well, the thing that I get pissed off about is when Peacock had an exclusive playoff game.
Yeah.
You can't put playoff games exclusively behind a paywall. That's insane. That's insanity to me. Now, of course, everyone's going to say, but Nick, the NFL's on Amazon Prime, and that's a paywall. It is. I don't love it. But Thursday was such a shit show. How many times did it go back and forth between NBC and Fox? And they just couldn't get it right. And remember, Joe Buck would do 2 games in a week sometimes for the NFL?
Yes.
And I think Tirico sometimes would do it on NFL Network because Al Michaels would get that week off.
Uh-huh.
But do you remember the controversy that, I don't know if you remember, that caused, where Al Michaels was going to take the week off because it was an NFL Network game, and Roger and the NFL called and said, no, we want Al Michaels.
That's terrible.
Okay, who's in charge? The media partner or the NFL?
The NFL.
So the NFL, if they want to get their money's worth, what are they going to do? They want the guy who's mostly involved. But Tirico's an incredible broadcaster. Like, that seems a little bit insulting that Roger and the NFL would call up and say, no, you can't have a week off. It's not allowed.
I mean, just think, though, about what Tirico's going to pull next Sunday.
So in case people don't know that either, so he's going to go through all the pop-up circumstance and the pregame show at 6:30, not 7 a.m. Do the game. And then he's got, from LA, not Italy, he's going to be doing remote, like, studio coverage, I think is what it was.
Yeah, Olympic primetime coverage on NBC after the game concludes.
You realize how ridiculous that is, right? I mean, that's why he gets paid the millions of dollars, right?
Number 1 for SNF, number 1 for NBA on NBC.
You know, the joke was going around about, both SNBs now being on NBC, and people were already speculating, is he going to be like the number 1 guy for baseball?
That would have been something.
But he's never done baseball.
I don't think he
That's the one
has.
sport, and I don't think he's done hockey either.
No.
Al Michaels has done hockey.
As you'll hear on February 22nd in another special episode of Benchmarks.
Just so you know, guys, we've been very busy with catching up on small ETB Small Market Edition and Benchmarks, and I have a few more episodes now that my mic is working correctly.
Let's hope.
Well, I'm not used to the mic actually having a touch sensor mute on it. What? Because like sometimes you'll see people go like they tap it and it mutes the mic. I'm used to just like turning off my Bose speaker and that being my mute. Now I have a mute that I can use on my mic, which I'm not used to.
Yes.
Christy also said, can't wait for my episodes of Benchmarks to come out. Yes, Christy did 2 episodes in the WWE realm. One was Owen
Hart's death, and then Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
That's the 21-0 story, right?
Yeah, 21-1 story, yeah.
Or 21-1. Yeah. We have a lot of good episodes of Benchmarks coming up. We're working with our team behind the scenes to get some different ones recorded. So I just did some new ones on my own. What are some of the ones because I can't remember anything anymore.
Load management in the NBA and the Malice in the Palace.
And then I have another bowling one coming up too.
When bowlers began using 2 hands and not 1 to bowl.
The two-handed revolution, which I was fortunate enough to actually meet Jason Belmonte at a bowling clinic. Nicest, by the way. So that'll be a great story. And then we have some media ones we're gonna do. Actually, I love that you gave me the radio one. I love how you snuck in the extra 690.
Yeah.
Because little San Diego referencing there.
Well, and it was the first real sports talk station out of the box. And I think tonight, Tom Albano is going to be revisiting the 2017 Astros scandal for tonight's episode.
What did we call that again, that episode?
The Houston Asterix. Great name.
It's... You know what that makes me remind me of, though? Even though it's not about Houston, it reminds me of the guy who won the bid on Barry Bonds' baseball.
Yes.
And then he put a vote out, and the vote said to put a giant asterisk on the ball and send it to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. That was one of the greatest stories ever when that happened. But actually, we should talk about our schedule because you're going to get we're going to get 3 more episodes in, right? Before the Super Bowl?
I believe so, yes.
So you have the normal.
We have one today.
Right.
We have a special edition one before the game, and then we have the regular scheduled one later in the evening next Sunday. So 3 benchmarks episodes in 2 weeks.
Well, I was also talking about our show here. We have today, then we got Wednesday, and then we're coming to you live on
Super Bowl Sunday.
Which
yes.
That schedule is starting to look pretty good already. We have some live coverage for Super Bowl Sunday. You're going to get Gridiron Gurus and Zanzinger Part 2 together for 2 hours, 11 to 1 a.m. Eastern. And then we're going to bring you a press row Super Bowl media special. And we're gonna take you through how some of this live coverage is ridiculous, which kind of explains the benchmarks episodes, the 11th hour revolution, which, by the way, to think that happened because of a rain delay at a golf tournament.
A rain out of a golf tournament.
I mean, a rain out.
Yeah,
well,
a rain out.
It started as a delay and became a rain out. But it's amazing how golf, you could say the PGA Tour is the reason that we have 11 hours of NFL Super Bowl pregame coverage.
Yes.
You're welcome, NFL.
Jiminy Christmas.
What else do we have coming up? Oh, we have 2 incredible guests on.
We do. We have an old friend and one of the best sports producers and host of probably all time.
I mean, we could say it because we should tease for. So obviously, big guest list. First one, I have to work out the times. I don't know who's going to be first, but Brandon Towers, who is the head of strategic partnerships at Playback TV, good friend of ours. There it is. Oh, former director of strategic partnerships. And we're going to get into why Playback crumbled. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Because our network was a partner channel with them, and we're going to deep dive. We're going to deep dive into the business aspect because that's what you and I do best. And then also we're going to talk about the Tony Reale situation, which I think they blew that. They didn't capitalize on that enough, right? They should have done a full show.
Oh my goodness, Tom.
But what was I saying? Oh, that they didn't capitalize on Tony Reale's show. Or doing can you imagine if they did Around the Horn once a week?
I think the platform would have still been alive. I really do.
You're telling me they couldn't get a sponsor for that?
Come on, they couldn't bring Nissan back to the fray or CarMax or somebody? Come on now.
You're telling me that if you didn't market Tony Reale doing, well, because they called it Around the Room, which is still a great name, by the way.
Genius name. I thought the name was great.
And by the way, and I have to ask him about the logo because the logo is a little dangerously close to the old-fashioned Around the Horn logo a little bit. But if you know the story about Pardon My Take, do you know the story about Pardon My Take from Barstool?
No.
You do know it's a combined of 2 names from ESPN, right?
Well, Pardon. Yeah, Pardon.
Pardon the interruption.
Around the Horn, First Take.
Yes. And they got cease and desist from ESPN.
What?
You didn't know that story?
No, because I don't tune in for Barstool content.
So they were somewhat small personalities at the time when Barstool was coming along. ESPN blew them up because of the cease and desist notice.
Jeez.
And they never stopped. And then ESPN gave up because they were not going to stop the podcast. And guess what? Pardon My Take is one of the biggest sports podcasts of all time. All because of an ESPN cease and desist.
How poetic.
All I'm going to say is that's not the way to be successful. Don't try to do that. That's a drop in the bucket of luck. They're very talented. I'm not saying that what they did is, well, everything they did is luck. But that was a little bit of stroke of luck that ESPN sued them, and that gave them the free PR that they needed to grow into a show. Trust me, I'm not going to go start taking names and hoping we get sued by ESPN. I don't feel like dealing with that. Yeah, that would be bad news. Also, so we're going to get into all that. I really want to dive into what happened with the playback platform.
As do I.
Alex Ohanian dropped $22 million as an investment. Now, I don't know if he can talk about all that, but he's got to know way more than most do. They never got all the simulcast feature just did not work either. You and I used to debate that for a while. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell them what you and I used to talk about all the time about the simulcasting feature?
The main thing is just that I think, I don't know, Nick, if it was who said it, though, but I recall, though, I mainly recall when I first got here 10 months ago, 11 months ago, however long it's been.
Tom's asking what time is it Wednesday? Tom, we don't know yet. I have to text him tomorrow because he's busy trying to find a job currently.
But I recall, though, remembering a line, though, that Playback wanted to kick StreamYard's ass in a way. I remember that.
That's a great conversation. I'm going to bring that back up because Brandon said that to me, that the whole plan was, he's like, I want to get you guys off of StreamYard and doing everything on here. But to answer your question, Tom, I hope it's 3 p.m. I don't know. I have to see how schedules work out. And we're probably going to have him on for about 25, 30 minutes. So we'll have plenty of time to explore what happened. So if you were a Playback TV fan, and we're gonna put notes out to the former Playback communities, because this is going to be a huge interview when we do it. What I don't like is that they just shut down the platform randomly. Yeah. But it's not random. How long did we have notice?
We had a few weeks, like a week's worth of notice, I think.
Which is nothing. Now, here's the one thing I'll say about our network and our platform compared to other channels, and I think you're going to agree with what I'm going to say. We didn't just do live stream. Oh, let me take that back. That's not the right word. We didn't just do game streams over there.
Right.
We pivoted in different directions so that we could continue to do shows when games were not on. Now, what was the name of the channel? And I always screw this up. The Chelsea channel.
I forget what they were called, but they had like 15,000 members. Chasing Wins was a Warriors watch party group. The Lakers had their own. Even some of like the worst NBA teams had their own platforms, like 10, 15, 20,000 people all of a sudden are now gone.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up because it's weird. Now when you look Playback, it's almost like they kind of scrubbed a lot of it away now. But yeah, crazy what happened to Playback. I kind of want to ask also, because they kept rumoring that they want to sell the platform to somebody. Not so easy, is it?
Yeah.
I was kind of scared because I thought like Amazon, and because there was rumors that Amazon and Twitch could have been a spot. But I jumped off for a second. The issue that you and I could not figure out, and I want an answer to this, hopefully when he comes on. The simulcast was a joke.
It was.
What was the point of the simulcast if you can't watch the games?
Yeah, and I'm sure that had to do with like the DMC violation, what are they called again? DMC.
DMCA.
DMCA. Like copyright violations, essentially. That this broadcast can't be reproduced or retransmitted in any way, shape, form, or size. And all you saw was us on your screen. If you're watching on, if you couldn't watch the game with us,
and you couldn't hear it,
and all you saw was us in a big ass like scoreboard box score, basically on your TV set.
See, what would have made sense, and I said this to Brandon many times, and I'll say it to him again, is why didn't you at least allow the audio to be run? Would that have been a DMCA violation too, because it's a broadcast, probably?
Probably.
But YouTube was basically useless unless we were doing the shows on the side. Twitter, you couldn't set up unless you used it separately. They didn't have Instagram. They didn't have TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, YouTube is just it's just doing a great job now that they might be removing background playback. Wait, what? Do you get that? What he said here?
Well, YouTube is just doing a great job now that they might be removing background playback. Tom, can you expand?
Is he talking about that we weren't allowed to use backgrounds?
Oh, maybe. Yes.
That was stupid that we couldn't put backgrounds in, by the way, either. And then the intros thing. Remember when they put the intros thing in?
Yeah, that was weird. And then we did get to use like the sponsor ad when we had Novig as the partner. We had it like on all the shows.
It didn't look great though,
It
to be
look great.
honest.
It was like right in the middle above our heads. Like,
And on the other things, it was in different spots on each social media thing.
yes.
So don't get me wrong. And I want to state this for the record so people don't confuse it. Brandon is a really good guy. A really good guy. Okay? And this has nothing to do with Brandon. We're just trying to get to the bottom of what happened with
Nick?
the Yeah.
So Tom wrote privately to us from a news outlet that Google has updated YouTube to stop non-premium users from playing videos in the background on mobile browsers. The move affects platforms which previously allowed free users to listen to music and do something else.
Wait, what the hell does that mean?
Well, let's go and read the story real quick.
Yeah, I'm opening it myself.
Google apparently, per Tom's reporting, Google has now updated YouTube to stop non-premium users from playing videos in the background on mobile browsers. The move will affect platforms which previously allowed free users to listen to music and videos while switching apps or locking their screens. The update, Google confirmed, occurred after users submitted a high volume of complaints about during recent days. Google's product manager, Jane Williams, stated that the background playback functions as a YouTube premium exclusive feature. The non-premium user base previously accessed this feature through mobile or web browsers under conditions, but we now provide a standardized experience across all of our platforms. I still don't get what that means. So that means that am I of the belief though that means that now you can't?
Well, no, we can do it, but I think they're saying that free users might not see it.
Oh, okay. I don't.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm not sure if Google has updated YouTube to stop non-premium users from playing videos in the background on mobile browsers.
Weird.
All these rule changes, man, when it comes to stuff like this is why like TV and radio, you get clearances to play video and music and stuff. Let's just say we don't have the money to do that yet. We don't have that ability to bypass copyright.
Not yet.
But that's going to be a fascinating conversation because, to be honest, it was a really good platform. But I'll admit this now, and I already told Callan this. We were not gaining anything from the playback TV platform. When they took the money aspect away, that killed it for everybody. Now, I understand why they took it away because they were hemorrhaging money by having to pay for every stream. But what's the incentive to sit there and do the streams as a partner?
As we did for however long we did.
But when you took the money away, what's the difference between us as a partner and the free accounts? Now, I guess you could say that we had access to the NFL, which free accounts did not have. Was just going to say it was losing the money aspect of live streaming and weekly and nearly daily. Yeah, Tom, it's 100% right. I mean, because we were doing, and Callan knows this. I got frustrated because we couldn't get people on streams to watch. But at the same time, there was no money to be made.
Right.
So,
like in a roundabout way, what is my incentive to sit on the couch or in my studio office, watch 2 NBA games at 5 and 8 o'clock Pacific time and not gain anything from it except for a sore bum, waiting for food to come, and there's nothing in return.
And what about, for me, the game starting at 11 p.m. Eastern time?
Right.
I don't know. I think they screwed that one up. But again, they couldn't absorb the money. It wasn't sustainable the way the model was going currently. And don't get me wrong, like, I think they effed up a real opportunity when it came to like the World Baseball Classic or the Olympics.
And I think that's when we both kind of came to the realization, no WBC, no Olympics,
no
what's
World
going
Cup
on here?
No World Cup.
No World Cup, yeah.
What did he write here? I mean, it doesn't sound like bad work, but when you go from gaining even just a little to no money, true, agreed. He's right. Like, we were making small amount of money doing it, and then it went away. And then their explanation to us was, well, if you build your audience up, blah, 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 blah. It's not that easy, people.
No. It takes so much time to do that.
And then the only way to make money was to get people to hit the, what's it called, thing on the side.
Yeah, the certain thresholds, yeah.
No. Donations. It was the
Yeah.
only way to make money in that regard. So I have a lot of questions. And then the second guest, if you want to throw that graphic back up.
I misspelled his last name, but yes.
Oh, yeah. Super chats. That's right. So Brandon Towers, and then someone who I love in this business for many years. Scott Farrell is going to join us. Hum. Yes, if you get the reference. Shake it down, brother. Yes. Scott Farrell has been around in this business forever. I think he goes all the way back to like Miami and Pittsburgh before he became a national voice. It'll be interesting because he was the first voice of CBS Sports Radio. And he was the last voice on Infinity Sports Network with David Shepard. So I want to know the whole story of CBS Sports Radio and Infinity Sports Network with him. One of the greatest names ever for a show, Farrell on the bench.
Hey, he'll fit right at home, baby. He'll be right at home on Wednesday.
And then he was also on the Howard Stern Sirius XM channels for, I want to say, 4 or 5 years at least. And you said you used to listen to him, right? Like out there in San Diego, you heard him on.
He used to be on CBS Sports Radio when it first launched out here on 97.3.
So tough slot, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, and you can't miss his voice.
I was going to say, do we have to ask every question and have a raspy voice tone on Wednesday?
Oh, that would be hilarious. And also, he's very big in the gambling space. So that's another interesting conversation we can have. I think he does something called Farrell and the Prophet, I think is the name of it.
Something like that.
I'm going to look this up really quick before we get out of here. If I could spell his name, that would be great. There we go. So it's called Farrell and the Prophet. And by the way, his betting record is superb. Like
crazy.
It's unreal, like the amount of picks that he gets right. By the way, and I'm going to say this for the 10 millionth time, no one is perfect with betting records at all. Otherwise, they would be billionaires, and I'd never have to work again. But great radio guy, great digital guy. We're going to have a blast on Wednesday with our two guests. And again, this is not the we exposed playback. That's not the goal here.
Nah, it's not.
And also, if you want to mention that down below, since you just put that up also, if you want to mention what you just put.
Yeah. Program alert for the night, because I'll be out of town in LA tomorrow night with some friends. We are doing a mega edition. And when I say that, I mean mega edition, like about a 3-hour version of everyone's favorite late night sports talk show here on ETB. The Lounge will be opening up with both myself and Nick DiMartino, both as your lead bartenders of banter tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll preview the Super Bowl and some other stories around the wide world of sports. We'll have I think, full house tonight, too, joining us as well between Mr. Morgasen and Liam Barwick, and other people will be joining us, too, for the Mega Lounge tonight as we preview the big game for next Sunday, because I'll be gone tomorrow and out of town.
Yeah, so the list is, so it's you and Nick D, Dino, Liam, myself. Ben will be there an hour or two, and Christy confirmed about 18 minutes ago she's going to be there. So we have a huge, the bar's going to be full tonight.
You love to see it, baby.
Don't break the merchandise.
Yeah,
Please.
tell that to Patrick Starr.
I think he probably runs up more bar tabs than anybody else here. Hey, Patrick, don't break the merchandise. We need it for the lounge.
It's a giraffe.
The laugh. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, I would say the line we just talked about Jeffrey Epstein for the last 91 minutes.
Well, we did talk about the ESPN info. By the way, you were only supposed to get an hour. You got an hour and a half. You're welcome, America. That's all I'm going to say now. If you want to just throw up the socials, make sure you follow us on social media at Press Row ETB across all social media platforms. We are going to do a better job of posting clips. If you do want to check out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, our interviews, because we've been on an incredible run of interviews. What have we had so far? We've had David Shepard,
Keith McPherson, Brad Evans, and David Sampson.
And then we have two more.
Bart
Winkler. How can you forget Bart? Don't be like Barrett Sports Media and forget Bart. Damn it. And then we have Brandon Towers, formerly of Playback, and Scott Farrell, formerly of CBS Sports Radio and Infinity Sports Network on the Stern channels, now doing Farrell and the Prophet on his own. By the way, he's got deals with like all the sports books. Like he's done some incredible work, and I envy how long he's been in this business. They had him filling in on WFAN at the end of December, which was kind of odd, but kind of interesting at the same time. So I dare you not to tune into this show. We have incredible show, and I think we've already lined up a shitload of stories for the actual show,
baby.
What do we have coming up on that show? Just to give people a little taste of what's coming up.
Yeah, so coming up on Wednesday right here on ETB for another episode of Press Row after our
the real version. The
real version coming up on Wednesday is going to be in part trying to go back to where we've been for the past couple of days when it's come to ideas and content here.
We'll probably get more into the ESPN NFL media deal a little bit.
Of course, we'll talk about WNBA drama with the lockout.
There might be a strike coming.
What else do we have?
Oh, the Seahawks are for sale after the Super Bowl?
Seahawks are for sale. We've also got...
Which we knew, because like you said, like with Paul Allen and everything.
Flag football at the Fiesta Bowl coming up in April, featuring 8 Division I women's universities, hosted by Arizona State University. That'll be cool.
Also, Natasha Cloud has a big mouth.
Natasha Cloud said her piece about the ongoing strike. Sportico reporting that a college in San Diego, not my university, has to pay back female athletes after shutting down their team during COVID.
Also,
the NFL not allowing prediction markets at this. The NFL will not allow prediction market commercials at this year's Super Bowl.
Can you imagine how much money they would have made if they allowed those commercials?
Peacock getting clobbered in Q4 as NBC pays the expansion or the right fees for the NBA.
Also, Sha'Carri Richardson getting arrested again.
Man,
what is up with her?
Couldn't tell you, sadly. Seahawks being for sale, as Nick mentioned. More about Jeffrey Epstein. More about the NFL and ESPN deal. What else do we have here?
The
the Chicago Sky being sued.
Also, the FanDuel situation. It looks like Main Street Group might be heading under.
And apparently Victory Plus will be the life raft for them.
Is that really that surprising, though?
No.
I
I have to watch Victory Plus to watch the Ducks games on TV here in San Diego.
But yeah, the WNBA situation is probably going to be the lead story probably for Wednesday's show. Because it does look like an impending strike is looming. And it looks like we're going to have to get ready for an impending strike show again.
Yeah, 30-day extension.
No, they're not doing that anymore. Remember?
60-day extension.
Oh, God. 1 year extension.
Oh, my God. No.
Can you imagine
if that happens, David Sampson's right. The league is going to fold operation.
Can you imagine if they came out like at 11:55 p.m. Eastern time on whatever day it is, and they said, 1 year extension. Can you imagine if they said 1 year extension? We have 1 year to work through this negotiating pattern. Like,
if it takes them a whole year to do a CBA negotiation like Major League Baseball, they're in deep shit.
Yeah, I don't know. And by the way, like originally, I thought the Natasha Cloud comment was vulgar, but now that I've had a chance to really look, I don't think she's wrong. Like, if you're not going to come to the table, then we won't either. Like,
precisely.
What is it? What's that dumb saying? It takes two to tango?
Correct.
Oh, God. Randy Levine, president of the New York Yankees, has surfaced in the newly released Jeffrey Epstein files.
What?
You know what's sad, too?
No, that was for that.
People are doing that stupid thing now where they take the documents and they're trying to make it look like people's names are showing up in the documents.
Of course.
Isn't that illegal?
Yeah. It's called defamation of character.
Isn't that also tampering with documents?
Tampering with evidence.
First of all, how low of a human being do you have to be that you take somebody's name and make it look like their name was redacted in the documents? But I mean, wow. I don't know what to say, but you got a bonus show. You were supposed to get an hour. You've gotten almost 2 hours out of us. I mean, the next show is a day after my birthday. It's the first show of me being 33.
Yes.
Holy crap, I'm old. Okay, one last thing. The details came out from Front Office Sports from the NFL and ESPN proving. So let's see if they have any other information currently that I didn't say before. With the combination of ESPN with NFL Network, the outlet will now show 28 NFL games per season.
Wow.
So this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
Overtime! That's serious overtime.
Holy shit, that's terrible.
Including 3 from the NFL Network and the most in ESPN's history. The league, here's an answer that we were talking before. The league, however, retained rights to 4 international games previously shown by the NFL Network and will now look to resell those rights, potentially to streaming outlets.
I'm not surprised.
The NFL, meanwhile, will still operate NFL Films, NFL.com, and other related digital assets, and it will continue to produce NFL Red Zone. The agreement leaves ESPN's equity split of 72% controlled by Disney and its subsidiaries, and 18% by Hearst, and 10% with the NFL.
Jeez.
We didn't talk about this, but this might have to be a topic for next step for the real episode. The contract of Bob Iger is up.
That is correct.
So I think didn't they name the head of Disney parks, I think the new CEO?
Josh Giarmo's next in line. And I remember the Iger story because obviously living in Southern California, having being a stockholder and a pass holder for the Disneyland, Disney parks here in Anaheim, about an hour and a half north of where I live. I remember where I was when the first news came out that Bob Chapek was being fired / resigning. I was at my ex-girlfriend's house at the time, and we both were like, yes, we can finally get passes again. But they only did it, though, to bring Bob back into the fray, Bob Iger back into the fray, because Bob Chapek was just cutting so many corners with the parks, with TV, with all that stuff. And
you're trying to save money.
Trying to save money. It's like we can't go back to Michael Eisner, for example, in the 90s when the Euro Disney park tanked and they couldn't put money back into the parks in California or on television, the studio, you name it.
Bob Iger was a money guy, like a business guy. He was retired. They basically forced him.
Pulled his ass out of retirement to save the company from Bob Chapek's run of debauchery.
Hold on. He got paid very well to come back out of retirement.
I'm aware of that, but he did a lot, though, to actually bring the company back to relevancy after Chapek freaking set the world on fire.
And also, there's one more sentence here, which is interesting. Separately, the league is expected to opt out of its current media rights deals early, including with ESPN, and begin talks this year on new and more lucrative packs. So, okay, I have questions now. If you have a deal with ESPN, you still have to negotiate with the NFL?
I guess you do, apparently.
But they own the NFL media assets.
Makes no fucking sense. I'm sorry.
I mean, all that tells me is that ESPN is pretty much going to be guaranteed a spot every time in the rights stuff because they own
almost like. And if memory serves me correct, didn't the NBA basically do that too with ESPN at one point?
There was a rumor that ESPN that they were going to do this type of deal with the NBA.
Yeah,
but I don't think it ever came to be. I mean, I'll check that out really quick. Because remember NBA TV, because of the whole thing that went up, that it's now a subsidiary channel. It's not owned by anybody.
Yes.
Let's see if I can look this up fast. ESPN does not currently own equity shares in the NBA, but they have engaged in discussions regarding strategic partnerships where leagues might take an equity stake in ESPN. This was the original conversation before the ESPN NFL thing ever became a thing, where they would say, "Oh, well, maybe ESPN will buy take over the NBA media rights stuff, and then they would get a 10% share of ESPN."
That's what everyone kind of thought. I know you and I did at one point.
But CNBC did a story on it back in 23 where ESPN held talks with the NBA, the NFL, and MLB for ownership of leagues, which I don't know about you, but that sounds like a conflict of interest if
it does. It does.
If a media partner owns part of a league?
Yeah.
How do you cover it fairly?
That's why I was kind of wondering about, would the NFL kind of begin to, raid ESPN offices and, basically, Big Brother's watching when it comes to how they do their NFL coverage now?
I'll give you an interesting one, even though you don't follow the NFL fully. You're going to have 3 NFL insiders all under the same umbrella working at ESPN. Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, and Tom Pelissero.
Wow.
That's a lot of firepower.
I mean, you literally could bring back the sports reporters and just make it the NFL reporters, make that into a show with those 3 guys, honestly.
I mean, you can't even deny this next statement I'm going to make, but how do they not do more NFL programming now that they own the NFL media assets?
That's why I was wondering, would they eventually add another NFL talk show, even though you said that the ratings are great for the 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific Sports Center. Who's not to say NFL Live gets 1 more hour?
Well, there was rumors like that SVP might take the
right.
That was actually almost going to be SVP and Russillo again, but that didn't work out because Russillo is now doing stuff with Barstool, and he owns his own media empire now and content, and now his show that's part of Barstool is actually in the Netflix bin, which that's going to be on the end of year's show, the whole Netflix debacle.
Yeah.
By the way, would you say already that we have an incredible best of for the end of the year with all these interviews we've done already?
Oh, and I'm sure there'll be more coming too.
But I just don't get how it's a conflict of interest that ESPN now owns NFL media assets, and the NFL now owns 10% of ESPN.
Yeah, that's so. Never would have thought I'd ever see that happen.
So can Adam Schefter still do his job the same way?
That went to my point. Can any of the NFL people now do their job without feeling like they're underneath 24/7 surveillance?
Now, would you agree though that coverage has kind of relaxed a little bit now when it comes to covering topics a little bit? Because like Shams will cover stories for the NBA any way, shape, or form. Now, they don't own a percentage of the NBA. That's a different thing. But if you're seeing it like now in the world of podcasting with former NFL players, they're literally just exposing the NFL left and right in some stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone will go that far with ESPN and with the NFL,
but you're seeing more openness now than we
totally.
So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I think when Bob Iger leaves, I think you're going to see issues again.
Yeah.
Because I think Bob Iger's like the magic elixir for ESPN. Like if they could almost create another Bob Iger, they would.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Again, I care more about like the theme park side of the Disney company more than like the ESPN, not because I don't like the NFL, but because I go so often to the parks in Anaheim and I've gone to Florida. My folks have gone to Tokyo. I care more about that side of the Disney corporation because I invest in the company along with the fact of being able to go as often as I do because I have a seasonal pass to go because I live so close. In what Josh has done for the parks since the Chapek ousting, Bob Iger coming back, and what they have planned right now for the theme park side of everything is very promising. And I think that he would be perfect. That Josh Ginormo will be a very good fit once Iger does finally retire, and hopefully he won't have to be pulled out of retirement again for more cachet to save the company for a third time.
You just gave me this is bad. Like every time we discuss stories, now I get ideas for stuff. This is live and on a show right now. I'm going to say this, but
I'm ready.
We should do a benchmarks on Bob Iger and ESPN and Disney and how he retired. He came back out of retirement. And then this whole thing with the NFL and ESPN equity deal.
I like it.
We have so many ideas. You want to tell? This is the last thing, I promise. Tell people how long that list is.
Oh man, it's got to be like over 250 episodes, I think.
And we're good until
pure ideas that we haven't even got to yet.
And how many would you? And you said we're good until when?
I mean, right now I think we're scheduled through the first week of May. With how
May.
Yeah.
And that doesn't involve like special holiday stuff.
145 episodes now.
Actually, did you rotate in the Super Bowl episode and move that other thing or no?
I literally put that one in the Miracle on Ice story as a bonus. So they will come out the day it happened, but I wanted to keep everything already scheduled in line so we didn't have to push anything further back. So there'll be a couple days you'll get 2 episodes of benchmarks in one day. I know it's weird, but it's
yeah, I think that'll be a great. You and I should tag that one together because that's like a media press row-ish type of episode. We have some good media ones coming up. We're going to do some bios. What did we put on the list? Colin Cowherd,
Howard Cosell, Vince Scully.
Some other great. We're going to explore some companies too in profiling. You're going to get a lot. I promise. Christy, who just said wow in the chat. We have some more WWEs, I think, coming down the line too that we're. You know what? She should do TKO.
Yeah.
How TKO swept up WWE and UFC and all that stuff also. God damn it. I come up with ideas and I don't even mean to. Oh, she said...
You want on AEW.
Could talk about what's his name who bought it. I don't like him. He's weird.
Doesn't he own the Jaguars?
Yes. Yeah. And I think isn't he like a weed guy or...
Oh, that word, huh?
I don't know. I'm just someone told me that I wasn't even ready.
Stay off the weed.
I've never done that before on this show ever. I don't think. I think that's a first. But I don't know. Anything else? Anything else we got to promote or stuff that's coming up? We're in Super Bowl week officially, so forecast will be on. Our Super Bowl show will be 6 p.m. Eastern. That'll probably be an hour and a half this week because it's the last big show. And then this is a tradition we've done over the years being here. We always do a post-mortem football forecast show once the season ends. That's kind of a the end of the season, news that came out that's going to affect next season. But I love doing the Super Bowl show every year. Tom always pulls out all the fun pop culture bets for the Super Bowl. And now that we have Kalshi and Polymarket, not sponsored by them, just using their site. Yes, I have to clarify that because some people would think I'm doing an ad for them. But there's so many fun ones. Like I already looked up. This is gonna be the final thing. I promise. We're gonna go on here and we're gonna look up Super Bowl bets.
Oh boy.
Because, all right, let's see. Let's see what we got. Who will appear in a big game ad? Timothy Chalamet or Sydney Sweeney? Who will be the headliner at Turning Point USA's All-American? Which, by the way, there was really no reason to do that show, to be quite honest. And then they have all the normal props for yards and sacks. And actually, that reminds me, you are going to get an Unnecessary Wagers Super Bowl bet episode, which will come out Saturday night, which will be live on Saturday night. So don't miss that. So plenty of coverage Saturday and Sunday. Unnecessary Wagers, probably 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern, which will then lead into Sunday.
Super Sunday Takeover, as we're calling it. It's called Clearing the Bench. Super Sunday Takeover.
So we'll talk about this more on Wednesday when we do our actual show. We'll give you a full schedule. We'll finalize it. And we'll go from there. And, this one's great. Will Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson be married before 2027?
Emotional damage.
Well, that whole relationship is emotional damage.
It is. I concur.
All right. For one final time, just because I said youtube.com/ETB network. Follow us, subscribe. Helps the algorithm. Except don't try TikTok because the algorithm is completely fucked up right now. And videos are... I saw influencers even saying like their videos are not getting views. What? Follow us at Press Row ETB. We're gonna work harder to put some clips up for the show. And follow us at ETB Network across the full network of shows, including when our Super Bowl coverage gets underway. So don't miss that. And as I said, youtube.com/ETB Network. Find us there. And that'll do it. You basically got a 2-hour show in a 1-hour time frame. You're welcome, America. And you're gonna get a 3-hour show on Wednesday. It's amazing how that works. And 2 guests. See, we work way harder than some people ever did here.
Who are you people?
Exactly. Well, that'll do it for the bonus edition of Press Row. He's Callan McClurg. I'm Nick Morgasen. And until Wednesday, we will bring you more on the WNBA, the Super Bowl, all that nonsense. And we'll go in the locker room and we'll explore all these topics. But until then, have a good afternoon or early afternoon, late afternoon here.
We will see you in 4 hours, roughly 5 hours for the mega edition of the lounge.
Oh, shit. That's right. 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. 2 or 3 hours. We'll see how it goes. But until then, see you later for ETB Lounge.
See you guys.